It's a new dawn, it's a new day. My name is Ocean Lemon, you can call me Jay. I've made a lot of videos on this channel, most being about stuff that I love or am passionate about. As many of you know by now, one of the things I love the most is horror games. I was raised on Resident Evil 2. I remember still being in diapers watching my father play the game. I remember being absolutely terrified of the game while not being able to take my eyes off of it. Not only will Resident Evil 2 forever be my favorite game of all time, but it also shaped my love for the genre. As time would go on, I would play more and more horror games, but there was one series I didn't get into until about 6 years ago. That series being Silent Hill. Now the Silent Hill series is one of the two biggest horror series of all time, only being matched by Resident Evil. This series is so massive and intertwined into gaming culture that it is hard to escape. As a kid, I always knew about Silent Hill, but never got to play it due to the games being outrageous in price and the hardware that I had. Around 6 years ago, I started to get into the series, watching tons of Let's Plays across the internet, learning the lore of each game. And while I watched content on pretty much every Silent Hill game, one stuck out to me the most and almost felt like it was speaking to me. This, of course, was Silent Hill 2. While all the original Silent Hill games are good and there's a huge debate on which one is the best, the popular opinion seems to be that Silent Hill 2 is the peak of the series. Watching videos of the game, I could immediately understand what the hype was about. The game had an aura that only very few games have. The game feels like it's actively pulling you in as soon as you take one glance at it. While I've only played a little of the original and I'm currently playing through the remake, I've seen many playthroughs to the point to where I can already say that Silent Hill 2 is in my top 3 favorite games of all time. And for those who do not follow the game, let me explain the magic of Silent Hill 2. One of the great things about Silent Hill 2 is the atmosphere, something that was perfected in both the original and the remake. This is also something that was perfected in Silent Hill 1, which I will talk about in a different video. The map being so realistic and empty of life makes it feel eerie. This is even amplified by the super thick fog that covers everything, making it impossible to see. The lonely feeling and thick fog help immerse the player, making you feel like you're actually in Silent Hill. It makes you feel like you're lost and walking aimlessly, which is exactly how the character is. The feeling of being lost and trying to find clues to understand what's going on helps put the player in the shoes of James. All the feelings are amplified due to the background music, which will randomly play throughout the game. I'm a sucker for a video game soundtrack, and I believe that Silent Hill 2 has the most amazing soundtrack in all of gaming. The soundtrack of Silent Hill 2 is both good inside and outside of the game. While writing this script, I'm actually listening to the Silent Hill 2 soundtrack because it's just such a banger. The entire soundtrack was composed by Ikara Yamaoka. I hope I pronounced that right, I probably didn't. He is the mastermind behind all of the Silent Hill scores from 1999 to 2009. He also returned to the series in 2024 and is an absolute legend. The soundtrack follows a similar formula of what Resident Evil was doing, having original scores that don't just fill the silence but manipulate the player's emotions. Each track matches its respective part of the game flawlessly, amplifying certain emotions and feelings. The tracks White Noise and A World of Madness make you feel alone, on edge about yourself, and can make you feel a little insane. The track Forest makes you feel more calm, and feels like someone is watching over you, making sure you're okay. The track Prisonic Fairy Tale makes you feel uneasy and uncertain, like there is someone watching your every move. This, mixed with the lonely and terrifying atmosphere of the map, makes you feel exactly how the game wants you to feel. But this all wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the story. The story for Silent Hill 2 is easily, in my opinion, one of the greatest stories not only in gaming, but possibly in the history of storytelling in general. If you haven't played the game or watched a playthrough, I highly recommend you do so. I'm going to be spoiling a few important elements of the story, so I recommend you stop the video here if you do not want to be spoiled. The main story follows your character, James Sutherland, who heads to Silent Hill after receiving a note from his dead wife Mary, who passed 3 years ago to an illness. In the note, it is mentioned that he promised to take her there someday but never did, and she's waiting for him there now. As soon as you start the game, it is clear that something is off about James, and this only gets amplified as the game goes on. While exploring Silent Hill, you find various notes. Some seem like warnings for James to turn back. Others talk about a man who seemed a bit sketch visiting the town multiple times. Over the course of the game, you run into various characters, one named Maria who looks exactly like James's wife but more attractive. She has a big part in the story, dying over and over but always coming back. By the end of the game, it's revealed that Mary isn't in Silent Hill waiting for him. She's actually indeed dead. But instead of her being dead for 3 years due to an illness, she was actually dead for only a few days after James killed her. The note from Mary that you read in the beginning of the game turns blank by the end, revealing that it was all in James's head. It's revealed that James killed Mary due to him not wanting to be stuck in a relationship with a sick woman who could not fill his desires. He saw her as a burden and he had strong sexual desire that she could not fill. The entire game is him dealing with PTSD that stems from his guilt for what he did. He couldn't deal with the fact of what he did, so he created a false scenario in his head about her death. The monsters that you fight represent his sexual desires and lust. Maria is created by the town and serves as a representation of a more attractive version of Mary that James wanted. Silent Hill is where all his demons came to life and eventually showed him the truth. James isn't the only character in the game with a deep story. All of the side characters you run into also are dealing with some sort of mental illness themselves, which causes a great story. The first character you meet in the game is Angela, whom you run into while walking through the cemetery. Her story is that she is looking for her mother who left her as a kid. She is mentally unstable as she was sexually abused by her father, eventually killing both her father and brother. Another character who you run into is Laura, a young girl who is running around on her own through Silent Hill. She cannot see the monsters that others are seeing due to her innocence. Then there's Eddie, a disturbed man who was bullied growing up due to his weight. You find him early in the game crying and seeming weak. As the game goes on, he becomes more and more deranged before eventually being killed. All these characters and stories come together really well and make Silent Hill 2 feel very deep. Between the amazing and immersive atmosphere, the beautiful and heart-wrenching soundtrack that can manipulate your emotions, and the well-written deep story of the game, this easily has to be one of the most perfect pieces of media that I think I have ever seen. And I know that good and bad is up to perception, but from my point of view, I think Silent Hill 2 might be the closest to perfect that we may ever get in gaming. Obviously, there are a lot of other great games out there in a lot of different genres, but I don't think Silent Hill 2 will ever be beat when it comes to everything that it has going for it. A story with so much depth that it was literally turned into a book. A soundtrack that not only fits the game perfectly, but is also really fun and great to listen to outside of the game. And an atmosphere that only fits in this game and that only this game could really pull off. Overall, the point of this video is I just wanted to talk about Silent Hill 2 because it's something that I'm passionate about. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and honestly, it probably would be my favorite game of all time if it wasn't for the nostalgia factor of Resident Evil 2. There is so much about the original Silent Hill 2 that I feel like is the new standard for gaming. Like, when it comes to horror games, I feel like most of them are trying to live up to the Silent Hill or early Resident Evil franchise, and there's really good reasons for that because when it comes to horror games, I don't think there will ever be anything that can compete with the early Silent Hills and Resident Evils. And one more quick thing that I want to throw in here before I end this video is another reason why I think Silent Hill 2 is just so good, and that's because of passion. I've mentioned it in previous videos before, where I said that games were better back in the day because of the fact that many game studios and game developers had more of a passion at that time. And Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 are games that you feel it a lot in, especially Silent Hill 2. You can tell that everyone that worked on this game had a passion of trying to make the best game to ever exist, and I think that they pulled that off flawlessly. And obviously Silent Hill 2 The greatness of it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Silent Hill 1, which I do want to make a separate video on because Silent Hill 1 is also one of the greatest games to ever exist. I also want to make a separate video in the future for Silent Hill 2 Remake, as there's a lot of things I want to say about that game that I feel like it deserves its own video. But overall, comment what you think down below. Do you like Silent Hill 2? Have you ever played it? And if you haven't, I highly recommend you do. Anyways, thank you all for watching my video. I hope you liked it. If you want to see more like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. And I'll see all you beautiful people in the next one. Bye!